Hello YouTube, it's your brother Gerald, YouTube philosopher. And today is Monday, October, let's see here, can't see my calendar. It's Monday, October 24th, 2016. And today's video is on the subject of having it all. And today's philosophy in our society is that women can have it all. And I would just say that it's kind of a misguided philosophy, because if we just kind of look, we only have two hands. And in the process of grabbing things with our hands, by just being physical people, we are limited in how much water we can drink, how much food we can eat, and we're limited in how long we're going to be on this earth. And there's just so many limitations that we have. This notion of having it all, and what is it in having it? Because I would just say, for every action there's a reaction, and for every advantage you place yourself in a position of disadvantage. And so I was talking to a friend of mine, and he wanted to argue, to say, yeah, you can't have it all. I know some women that are having it all. And I said, okay, well, I guarantee you, if you and I had an opportunity to sit down and talk with these women, I could guarantee I could show you where they are lacking in some dimension or some aspect in their life. And I put it to him very simply. I said, you're thirsty right now. You got a bottle of Coke in your hand, right? I said, if you wanted to eat something right now, in order for you to eat something right now, you'd have to release your hold on that bottle of soda and take hold of something else in order to continue to eat. And if you don't let go of it and you use your other hand, you can only eat that which is in the hand that is going to be feeding your mouth. And it would be kind of bizarre looking for you to try to eat and drink at the same time, and it would be kind of a messy circumstance. So no matter how we looked at it, I told him, let's just keep it simple. I said, if I want to grab a hold of a woman, and me grabbing hold of this woman, I have limited myself in that out of the billions of women that are on this earth, I can't grab another one until I let go of the one that I got. And so it's at a point where you start really recognizing and seeing your limitations, that you get to a point of understanding to where you just have to concede that you can't have it all. For the woman that apparently does have it all, I guarantee you, if you sit down and have a discussion with her in terms of the proud events and the proud accomplishments in her life, I would be surprised if in that list of these proud accomplishments, the women would basically say, well, I slept around with about 20 different guys when I was in college, and when I became a career woman, I slept around with about 25 during the 10 years that I worked to build my professional career. And now I'm at an age where I'm ready to settle down and get married. I guarantee you, not one woman would be willing to voluntarily tell that story as being a part of the list of her accomplishments. Now, that might have been a list of something she wanted to do or enjoyed doing, but in terms of looking at those experiences as accomplishments, most women become very uncomfortable when you start talking to them generally about their sexual history. You know, they're not going to voluntarily tell you their sexual history, so obviously there's a point of noticeable shame and embarrassment, and it's all demonstrated in their reluctance to share these things voluntarily with the men that they encounter. So, for the woman that basically, says that, there's this double standard, and if a man can run around here and be a whore, I should be able to run around here and be a whore too, and nobody should look at me with disgust because nobody's looking at the man with disgust. But you just can't overcome the truth of the nature of what you're doing. And this is the thing that I'm really trying to get people to see. Just because society might sit here and tell you that you can have it all, that men and women are equal, the reality is deep down in your heart of hearts, you know it's not true. You know it's a lie. And you know that for every action, there's a reaction. There's a consequence to every choice that we make. And it's really unfortunate that most of the time when we discover the foolishness of the choice we made, it's at a point of seeing the result. And instead of trying to be wise and predict the results of the choices that we make, we just go ahead and do it because so many other people are doing it. And that's where we start finding ourselves coming up short and being embarrassed. So I just bring this video out just to point out just our limitations. Because if you don't really pay attention to your limitations, you're going to see yourself doing stuff that you really had no business doing and getting yourself in a lot of trouble that you had no business getting into. And I'm just going to give one last example and then we'll call it a day with this video. The example I'm giving in this video is the example of a married woman. She has 2 children, but she doesn't want to be a homemaker. So she forgoes being a homemaker to having a career. But the terrible thing about her being a career-oriented woman is that for all of the hours that she spends away from home, she's going to spend so many hours away from home that even in the evening when she gets home to deal with those kids, she's not going to really have the energy to deal with them, and she's not going to really be keen to do those things necessary, especially if she is in a career position. She's going to be doing things that's going to be oriented to satisfying her job and the job description. And a lot of times careers, you can't just clock out. When I worked in a management position, I was working over 40 hours a week, but it was at a point where I was just a salaried employee. If I worked 45 hours, I'd still get the same salary. So it's just kind of one of those things that, you have to look at the trade-offs. And now here it is, that same woman, getting back to my story, the same woman is in a career. She's making excellent money. Her kids are grown, but now her husband has flown the coop. And now she's stuck with having to pay all of these bills that she didn't really have to even be concerned about. She's having to get medical insurance that was provided for by her husband. And all of these things now are becoming additional expenses for her to deal with. Now, most women would deal with these expenses by taking the man to court and dragging him into court to, extract his money to cover the difference between what she was willing to pay and what she can afford to pay. So it's at a point where, if you're saying you're strong, you're independent and all of this, there's no need for you to go off and drag a man who you really don't want to be with, who you don't want to honor, you don't want to do any of the things he's asking you to do, but you're going to require him to continue doing these things for you even though you don't want to have nothing to do with him now. So I just really hope you women recognize the error of your ways before it's too late, because, the story I'm telling you is the story of my wife. She's at a point where she is no longer dealing with any of these things, and my divorce, my business affairs are in order to where my wife can't get anything other than her freedom. And now she's going to be wanting to get back in because I'm expanding my business right now. I've only been gone a little over 2 months, and in the 2 months that I've been gone, I've been able to save well over $10,000. And that's going to allow me to expand my business operations into Orange County. My business operations are in Los Angeles County for the most part, but I have some relationships with some people out in Orange County where they want to expand their business, and I have the resources to make that happen. So I just really hope you women understand, because most men that have means are getting very keen to not involve themselves in risky ventures such as marriage, because it's far easier for me to keep you at bay, to have you come into my life and leave, than to have me, exclusively committing myself to you, and then later on down the road you see yourself wanting to deal up, or you just want something different. You can't have it all. You've got to be willing to accept the differences and the disadvantages, but you also got to appreciate the advantages of the choices that you're making. So with that, I depart. Peace to you all.